And what I'm going to share with you today is particularly appropriate to my world right now because I am now just under 3 weeks out from our wedding. So I wanted to share what an organizer does to help keep their wedding well organized. And so I wanted to highlight in particular, basically there's an awful lot of information that's flowing around at this point in time of, what are the last things that need to get done, who do you need to talk to about which pieces, what's the timeline for the day, for the week before, and who needs to show up at which points. And so I'm going to highlight for you kind of the 3 key things that have really come up and been really valuable for me in this last time of conversations, etc. And then I might give you a few cues of some additional lists that we might just put in the notes about this video later on. The 3 that you really want to make sure you're focused on and getting nailed down and have available to you. The first one is quite obviously some kind of a task list. When I finally sat down and got all of the tasks that needed to be done in the last 6 weeks before the wedding, I will admit, it was 5 pages long, and that was a little overwhelming. But I can tell you almost immediately after getting it all down, I started to feel a lot better. Because then I could literally not think about what I was forgetting, I could just execute. I could just focus on it and start ticking things off. So getting that down someplace is so crucial. So a task list of some kind is really key. Secondly, the thing that's been a real valuable thing is to have sat down and created, I just use a spreadsheet, basic spreadsheet. You can use Microsoft Excel or numbers on a Mac, and created both a day of timeline, and for me, we did a week of timeline, or really kind of the 4 days before, because we got a couple of pre-events and all of that kind of thing. And I went through and I literally made columns for each of the key players. So where I am, where my soon-to-be husband is going to be, the photographer, the officiant, the wedding day coordinator, and then guests and bridal party, etc. So that I could kind of figure out who needed to be in which locations and where people were overlapping to make it functional for all of the people involved. So this is just kind of the day of, and then I created a week of with much of those same kinds of players and a few others to make sure that everybody knew where they needed to be at different times. So those timelines have been hugely valuable for communicating with different vendors and with different family members and making sure they know what their responsibilities are. And the final thing is just having some running pages of agendas. In other words, what are the last couple questions I need to ask the caterer? What are the last few questions for the officiant, for the florist, for the photographer? And so I literally just started creating agendas lists, talk to Tony, talk to Sue, with all of my questions or topics, and just can capture those so that when I'm able to go to those final meetings or have those final phone calls, I know I'm getting it all, because I'm thinking of things all the way along the way. So those have been really useful lists to keep track of and keep managed. So hopefully those will help keep you on track. Let me say the same thing is true for any major event. Do you have a big conference coming up? Do you have a big party that you're bringing a lot of your clients or colleagues to? These kinds of tools are going to be equally valuable for any major event like this. So this is your Living Peace Tuesday tip. We'll see you next week.